The Akshay Shetty 2004 Valedictorian Award goes to Cameron Sweetman, who I'll ask to come up to shake my hand and then to deliver his speech before he moves on to granting the diplomas.
Thought I'd save you from some of the perspiration, although we're not exactly broadcasting in HD. So, Mr. and Mrs. Lee, Chairman of the Board, Ridley staff, parents and guests, and especially my people, the graduating class of 2012. It was an incredibly hot day about 4 years ago. I was sitting under a white tent on A Squad, watching my sister, Aurora, graduate. I remember thinking, wow, my sister's all grown up. Seemed like just yesterday she was holding my hand as we walked off to the bus stop. That day I met Mr. Park, who would be my future housemaster. Picture me shaking his hand. I had a mouthful of braces, hair with an afro this big. I had no idea what a housemaster was. Little did I know housemaster is actually just a word that they give to your parents so that they won't be upset that they are being replaced by new parents for the remainder of their years at Ridley. Being a boarder at a private school may seem like the most horrid punishment you could ever thrust upon your child. Our secret is that, in reality, it's a blast. Of course, you have to survive Billy's innuendos and Chartwell's 2-week food cycle, which I have been fed in excess of 250 Friday fish sticks over the course of my 4 years. Living in a house with 50 international brothers from 50 other international mothers has taught me how to live with people of all shapes, sizes, faiths, colors from all around the world. And like it or not, you are all my brothers and sisters. Here at Ridley, when you break the rules, you receive something called a gating. Now, I never understood what that quite meant, but for those of you who don't know, a green gating is for a minor offense, whereas a red gating stands for something a little more substantial. Students remain well behaved solely based off the fear of being gated. The kicker is that to this day, not a single one of us has ever seen the gate. I'd imagine the green gate to be simple enough, few spikes and studs here and there, but God forbid they get you to the red gate. I can only imagine it. Flames, barbed wire, with Aspen, the 3-headed guard dog, trying to stop all their escape. Sounds like something right out of Hogwarts. Oh wait, Hogwarts. Isn't that where we all go? Or I know that's where everyone looking in already thinks we go. It is where I thought I was going until I noticed my timetable in grade 9 didn't consist of potions or spellcasting. I do remember in grade 10 though, when there was an owl stuck in the chapel. There may not be floating candles in the dining hall, but the flags seem to magically flap all by themselves. Sure, the stairs don't move in the schoolhouse, but the cramps in your legs as you approach third flat sure make it seem like they do. Our paintings don't have talking ghosts in them, although the Mona Lisa did levitate to the top of the bell tower the other day. When me and Owen climbed, when me and Owen cast a spell to bring her up to the top. And I could have sworn Mr. Lee's portrait winked at me the other day. But on second thought, that must have just been some leftover residue from the food fight. There are many things that make Ridley special. The things this place has taught me goes far beyond the work done in the classroom. Our school motto, Terrar dum prossum, it means, let me be consumed in service. These were the last words cried out by our namesake Bishop Ridley as he was burned at the stake. Imagine being faced with that. A voice coming through the fire, let me be consumed in service. Perhaps the fire of snake dance is a more appropriate symbol of our initiation than we might otherwise think. Oh yes, snake dance. I'm sure you've all seen the quad. Picture that same field on a warm black autumn night. Separate voices around the quad merge into a screaming pack of orange and black. Rain coming down in buckets, but despite Mother Nature's best attempt to shut down our almost cult-like ritual, A tower of fire erupts to the sound of a generation of Ridleyans being born. You've all seen it, you've all done it, you've all felt it. The feeling of orange and black coursing through your veins as you growl as if you have embodied Hank himself. This is what separates the time we spent at Ridley to the time we spent elsewhere. The feeling of being as one group and one community, all with the same focus and pride to our fellow Ridleyans. I'm now going to share with you a moment where I felt the Ridley pride at full roar. As most of you know, and as Mr. Lee referred to earlier, Ridley was the host of the Provincial Basketball Championships. Against all odds, we made the final. Many of us were seniors on the team, and we knew that would be our last game that we had ever played together. It was in this very room, on the floor that lies under all your feet, that 1,000 screaming Ridleyans came to support us. I will never again experience a moment quite like it. Our fieldhouse was absolutely crazy. Long story short, just when we thought we had won, a boy by the name of Sandhurst hoisted up a Hail Mary shot and to clinch the game right at the buzzer. From the greatest emotional high down to the deepest low in an instant. What made this even worse, the name of the school that beat us was Pretty River Academy. Embarrassing. If we had simply won this game, I'm pretty certain there would have been a bunch of dancing and cheering. Maybe in a few days' time, people might point up at the banner up on the wall. But that didn't happen. The humbling defeat taught me more about this school than an ounce of gold ever would. The support of my classmates was overwhelming. That night, I kid you not, I received sweaty hugs from more people than I ever thought possible. Many of which coming from grown men, teachers, and alumni, including our school photographer, the campus security guard, and Mr. Holmes, who I now refer to as Uncle Nick. And that night, I also had a revelation about one of our fellow graduates. I was obviously in a sad mood. I was walking slowly back to AB to shower, most likely crying myself to sleep, when someone who I least expected decided to walk with me. This grad counseled me as we walked side by side, and finally as we reached the doors of AB, he held me ever so gently in his warm arms. He told me to keep my chin up and I was headed for great things. This man, although he may not know it, is just as much a part of the class of 2012 as any one of us. This man is our own headmaster, Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee is a gentleman who always made an effort to come out and watch as many of us play and perform as he could. He never did this out of obligation, but because he genuinely cares for all of us. He sings to us in chapel, he laughs at our grad pranks, and I must say so, he has a pretty awesome accent. The cumulative class of 2012 leaving this year is going to leave a crater in Ridley the size of St. Catharines. Now, there was a buzz this week about a commencement speech that went viral on YouTube titled, "Kid, You're Not That Special." It was delivered by a high school English teacher in the US. Unfortunately, FJ stole some of my material and you all heard about it this morning, but regardless, I have some other thoughts on the subject. It caught my attention at over 3 million hits. He tells his graduates, and I quote, "Do not get the idea you are anything special, because you are not." And he makes the argument that across the country, no fewer than 3.2 million seniors are graduating now from more than 37,000 high schools. And while I feel special to be your valedictorian, Teacher Dave points out that I'm merely one of 37,000 this season. He goes on, and I quote, "Your planet, I remind you, is not the center of the solar system. Your solar system is not the center of the galaxy. And your galaxy is not the center of the universe. The universe has no center, therefore you cannot be it." Unquote. Teacher Dave, skeptics, count your stars. Do you not think that we are special? I would like to point out that both Nostradamus and the Mayan calendar tell us that 2012 is a phenomenal year. And while pessimists may refer to this as the apocalypse, we optimists like to refer to this as galactic alignment, meaning the stars and planets are actually pointing at us. Meaning we, the graduates of 2012, actually are the center of the universe. So you can hit YouTube with that one. Now, I know your parents realize that you sent your sons and daughters to a good school, but what you may not actually know is that Ridley is the best school. And because of you and your support, we have had the privilege of being taught by the very best teachers, with the most amazing facilities, in the most beautiful setting, with the best looking girls, led by the best headmaster in the best country on earth, Canada, in the phenomenal year of 2012, ultimately placing us, the graduating class of Bishop Ridley College, in the best place at the best time ever. And did I mention? In the center of the universe. Thank you, parents and grandparents. So now that we've established that Ridley's class of 2012 is going down as the best, most enchanted and divine group of individuals in the history of the world, what is Ridley going to do next? Our parents look back at high school and they say it feels like just yesterday. Well, we're all graduating now, and I know it seems like far away, but today will feel just like yesterday at our 5-year reunion, and our reunion will feel just like tomorrow once we get there. And to quote Sir Winston Churchill, "Now is not the end, it is not even the beginning of the end, but it is, perhaps, the end of the beginning." Congratulations, class of 2012. We did it, we're done, but our journeys have only just begun. Go Blacks, go!